Are you ready for deeper meaning and bigger dreams in your life? Do you believe it can happen? Amy and LoriAnn are here to clear the confusion and help you live life full out, guided by your inner wisdom to create, amplify, and align you with your highest self. Are you ready to attract a divinely blessed life? This is Living in the Faith Frequency. Right after John's celebration of life, which was 1 month after he passed, and LoriAnn, I asked her to be one of the speakers at his celebration. So her and Ray drove and were there, and the books arrived at the last minute, and it was just a magical day. John's presence was there. LoriAnn had done a podcast with John after his brain surgery and captured about 25 episodes, which we then put into his book. And so the faith frequency was that message that was given to me 2 weeks before his diagnosis. And then the formula was given to me during the journey of taking care of him. And it was really our anchor. And so LoriAnn has been a part of before, during, and after this entire experience. And she too her parents had passed in a car accident when she was 18. 18. And so she's gone through so much of her own healing. And so she said, I told her I wanted to get this faith frequency message out. And she said, would you like us to do a podcast? And I would like to get you while you're raw and real going through all this, because one day you won't remember all of the details. And so it was her idea to start capturing my journey just immediately after his transition. And so there's a lot of raw footage in the faith frequency and what I did to get through that. But I also think it's the same for everyone getting through any type of changes in their life. We all want to have faith in ourselves and our future, and we have to believe in things before we see them. And so it's not necessarily a religion thing, but it is a frequency, and it is tapping into God, source, whatever you call that higher power. There's something so much bigger than us, and yet it's up to us to let it in. And so we wanted to capture that and let things unfold. So that's my version of what I remember. But LoriAnn, I'm curious how you saw it go down.
Pretty much the same way. Inside of my every cell inside my being, I just know that when you go through something that is so life altering and life changing, your brain starts wanting to make everything so happy and make it be so perfect and wonderful that you really forget. And so I know I forgot so much about when my parents passed, and it wasn't until I started writing a book about it that I went back and I dragged all of my journals, because I always am writing. I'm always writing things down. And I went back and I got all of my journals out and Ray's journals, and I started reading through it and realized so much of what the story was that I was telling people, it wasn't even real. Like I had made things up over the years that weren't even real. And so I knew that if we were going to be able to capture this from Amy and with John, all of the things that they had gone through together and separately, I just knew if we could capture it as it was happening, that it would be the real story, the true story, the like reality TV story. I mean, just exactly the way it happened, and that there wasn't going to be any made up stories around it of what we think happened, because we were capturing it right there. And so when that happened to me and I started writing my book, I literally was on the ground in fetal position trying to wrap my brain around this whole grieving process and realized I hadn't really grieved. I hadn't really expressed myself. I hadn't really shared the process, or there were just, I had to get up and get in gear and take care of my family and a new marriage and my career and my husband's career. Like there were all these things that I had to take care of. And for me, I just thought, what if Amy didn't have to do that? What if learning from the experience that, let me get emotional, going through the experience that I experienced as just a little kid, like 18 years old, and that we all experience it at some time in our life. But I didn't realize that I had not grieved. I had not like allowed myself to really understand the whole process that I had gone through. So when this, conversation started with Amy, I just thought, what if, Amy, we could do this and we could capture this real and live and, week by week, what is going on? Then we have the real story and we have it right from your heart. And we've got it as, as you're living through it. So that was what was coming from my heart to hers to be able to share this. And there's so many people that need to hear this message. And it could be little simple things that they're going through in life, but it's also really big, hard things that they're going through in life. And so this message of living in the faith frequency is relying on that, like your gut intuition, your conversations that you're having with people. That's where we get to really truly connect deep inside ourselves, is those communications that we get to have with people. And when you don't really allow this to happen, that grieving or that sadness or whatever that experience is happening, it gets embedded in those cells and it starts showing up as some kind of disease or condition or something like that. So if we can help people move through the faith frequency and rely on those conversations and the tools that we share while you're going through this, if we can really even just touch one person's life by sharing what we know and believe, then that to us is the most amazing thing that could ever happen. Just by being able to help so that you don't have to go through something that we've already gone through. We kind of do the time compression thing, be able to help you live in that faith frequency and keep the joy and the happiness and the love in your life. So that's where it all came from.
I love all of that. I love how you listen to your intuition. You were there for John after his surgery to express himself and what his love was out into the world before he transitioned. And you were also there for me to be able to express. And I think it's one of the reasons I've done so well is because I've been able to talk about it so much and all the feelings and everything I was going through. And I never know when the tears are going to come. I never know when the emotions are going to come. And so I love that I was able to talk about it on a weekly basis. And I mean, and I've talked about it a lot. And I just think that has been so helpful in my healing process and to really anchor in this faith frequency formula, which I feel like was a divine message that was given. And there's a lot of things that have been given to me through this entire journey that I'm excited to share. And I'm so thankful for you guys that are helping me get these messages out because I'm just a messenger of the messages that I'm sharing them because other people are asking. Like I wouldn't be receiving them if people weren't asking for them. And so I'm excited to get this out. because there's so many people that are going through changes. And I think that that's what this is about as well, is to keep that human connection and touch as the world is going through significant changes on all fronts. And this is how we keep the faith and keep moving forward. And you mentioned joy. I had a necklace that said joy is the key. And I gave myself permission to feel joy along with my grief. And I love that my friends supported that as well. They knew that feeling joy was an important part of my life, and that it's okay to grieve and to feel joy all within the same minute. You can
Yes.
feel all the things all at once. Not all at once, but you can move through them quickly. I think anyone that's going through a huge transition, change, whether it's in health, with a partner, with yourself, um, with your career, with relationships. I mean, it's going through huge changes and finding your way through all the emotions that will come, and feeling the support that you're not doing it alone, and having faith and getting clear on the future that you're wanting to create, because we are creators of our reality, and it is keeping our mind aligned to let in what our heart desires. It's all there for us, and it's how do we let that in. So anyone that's going through a huge transition or wanting to create a change in their life, sometimes life happens to you and you don't have a choice, or it doesn't feel like it, and then it's how do I get up to speed with what's happened and who I've become so that I can get through this. And then sometimes it's people are ready for a change. They feel stuck. They feel like they're just not alive. And so that is who this podcast is for.
So anybody that is wanting to focus on getting to the next step, they, like Amy just alluded to, with if they're feeling stuck, um, and it might be those people that are like, they just know they've got something inside there that they can give to the world. They just know that, like, they're feeling like, I've got something. Where do I go? What do I do with this? And I there are some great tools that we share that really helps you get out of that place where you are to the place where you want to be. And so I think it's for those change makers too, that want to, that, and it's not just about change. I like the word to change, but I think the word transformation is so much better, because sometimes we change and then we revert back to our old habits. And if we really want to transform, that means we've left that old part of us behind and we're willing to move on to the next. And there's some grief in that when you're leaving that old person behind and you're moving into this new. You've got to have a lot of faith and, the steps to do that, to let that part of your person be gone and move into this new one.
I think it's about people finding their way through those changes that come. And so they can hear this, how it was done and how to apply it in their own life, and how to create and step into new, I call them new identities, because we're always, if we want to become more, we've got to take on a new identity. And how do we level up in our mind who we are and what we feel deserving of in life. And so they'll they'll get inspiration, because there's something, it's a little easier when you're watching someone else go through it instead of someone just talking right at you, and you can take in nuggets of, oh, that's how that's done. That's how I step into myself. That's how I have self-worth. That's how I have faith. That's how I have the courage to make these changes so that I transform as a person.
I do know some of the things that we talked about are like times when she was feeling sad or feeling lonely, and the people that came into her life that she really was manifesting. So those are some of the stories that she shares. Some of the other stories that she shares is not feeling guilty about not being sad, that she had so much love and connection with John that she carries that on with her every day, and that she has no guilt around not being sad all the time. Like, we talk about the deepness of the relationship and how they talked all the time and how they had this synergy between them, and that they started creating dreams together even after he was gone. Like, what were some of the things that she was going to do? What are the places she was going to visit? Those are some of the things that they can look forward to learning about. And we talked about some of the new things that were coming up into her life, the new feelings, the new awareness, practicing dating, um, practicing doing different hobbies, like things, saying yes more to people.
Yeah. And learning how to really feel. I think the one thing that this experience gave me, it just broke me wide open to really feel on such a deep level all the emotions. And I didn't know I would feel so alive by feeling everything so deeply, and to having a space to be able to feel and express and be unapologetic for whatever I was going through, because I think that's how you go through it so much faster, is when you can feel everything, you feel you have a safe container to express, and then to get clear on, now what do I want? Who do I want to be? And how do I let that part in? And so it's feeling it, and then uh, you know, moving forward and realizing that you are okay and that you have everything you need. And I think learning to ask for help, I certainly have allowed a lot of people to help me on this journey. And I think being real with how you feel, there you find just how much kindness and caring is out in the world when you're real. People want to help, you know? And so I think there's just a lot of vulnerability, because I've always been a bit of a private person. So I think this is an opportunity to kind of see behind the scenes, where this is what really went on, and this is what I felt, and this is how I moved through it, so I could keep moving forward in life, not um, ignoring what I went through, but moving forward with it and being more because of it.
She
And
even learned how to cook. She
that's,
had to learn how to cook and do all of her investing and financing and bills and the house upkeep and like all of these things that were just so new. It was pretty incredible, all the things that she was learning along the way. And that's what we talk about,
you know,
all the things.
all the things. I learned all the things because John was so helpful. 17 years, just like he was my main man, doing all the things with me, business, personal. I had a conversation with my mom just last week, and she said, John did so much for you. I was so worried that you would crumble. And she said, and my mom and I don't always have these kind of conversations, but she said, I'm so proud of you. You are so strong, and how you got through it. But it's because of the people that I had in my life and my willingness to be real and say, hey, I need help with this. And it was just, the support was amazing. And I think that's an important piece. Like, we're not here to go through life alone. And the more that we are real, there's always someone, an angel, that steps up and says, I'm here, what can I help you with? Because it's so much easier to help someone when you're not triggered. Like, it's so easy to help someone that is going through something when you can just see this bigger perspective. And so I'm always helping other people with that. But it was so great to just let other people help me get through all of these, get my nervous system regulated again. So,
Don't you think, Amy, too, you were wanting to figure everything out for the whole rest of your life on some days? Like, really wanting to figure everything out to like And so there were times that we would just talk about, okay, let's reel that in a little bit and let's just do today. Let's just like really, like you always talk about having your alignment, and let's just do today. Let's like feel the joy and the happiness and those feelings that you want to feel today. And then, if tomorrow comes, tomorrow comes. But right now, today, let's do this.
And that is what got me through caring for John, because everything was uncertain.
Right.
Everything was uncertain. So I was having to operate in a very uncertain timeline world. Like everything was uncertain. And so to calm my nervous system, I had to narrow it down and just get through one day at a time. And there was so much to do, so much to learn, so much to cover to try to get done. If he was to transition, we had no idea what timeline. And so it was like learning to take one day at a time to calm my nervous system was one of the best gifts I could have received. And it's something I want to continue to apply, and I'm still trying to figure it out because I think we always have some uncertainty in life, and how to live in today and trust the process and trust ourselves to find our connection and have faith in what is to come, that we can handle it. And so one day at a time, I loved when LoriAnn and my friends would just bring me back to the present moment. And what I found is my friends that have experienced deep grief. I have another friend whose husband passed just 4 years prior to John. She was always bringing that present moment back to me, because our mind just is trying to figure out what's our life going to look like with these changes. And so learning how to be present one day at a time and not let the mind take control, but stay in the heart and have that faith. And so I think that's something that we want. It's something I want for the rest of my life. I remember when I did get that place where I could just wake up and say, I'm just focusing on today. I'm going to be the best version of myself today and love. I'm going to just love today. And then I thought, I want to feel this for the rest of my life. I want to be so present and feel so attuned to all my emotions in my life for the rest of my life. And so I love that we're talking about it, because just talking about it is bringing me back to this very calm, centered place where I think that's what the faith frequency is about. Um, and then also being excited about what's coming next in your life, because there's always more, always more.
I think you touched on something there really good when Ashley had said, who is this podcast for? And it's people who are living in uncertainty.
Yes. Yes. That's perfect. That is it. And I so appreciated LoriAnn, just let it be raw and let it be, real. So there's a lot of these podcasts that may not even be edited. So I'm not even reviewing them. We're just putting them out. That's how raw and real they are. And I think when you trust the right people, will get what they need from these podcasts. And I think it's refreshing to feel the authenticity and the journey, especially when you're going through uncertainty and you're trying to find your way. And when you can listen to how someone else did and then apply it to your life, to help you, I think that's a great approach. So that is our intention for this podcast, is to help others that are going through uncertainty to find their way through whatever it is, whether it was brought on intentionally or just blindsided by it. It's giving them the direction and support and faith to keep moving and know that they've got it, and to create their ideal vision of their life and keep moving towards it no matter what. Keep moving forward.
This podcast is different than any other that I've listened to because of the faith frequency, being able to stay in the faith frequency and then bring yourself back to the faith frequency. Like this podcast has the raw, the real, the tears, the life journey, it's like reality TV. It is truly experiencing the faith frequency in the very moment of having to pull deep inside of our own faith to really take the next step.
If anyone is going through changes or wanting to make changes and living in uncertainty, unsure how they're going to get through it, and if they even have the strength to do it, it would be for them to be able to listen and know that they're not alone, and to be guided and receive, these messages that are really raw and real, and just the journey of how do you go through these changes, big and small, in your life, and how do you keep becoming the better version of yourself and being stronger and wiser because of it.
When you're living in the faith frequency, life just keeps getting better and better.
When you're living in the faith frequency, life just keeps getting better and better. And so as you learn to live in that faith frequency where things get better and better, there's also another level that you get to live in. And this is what I call the heavenly sexiness. And it is where you're tuned in and turned on to your life and realizing how you're allowing and creating in your life the ideal vision that you have for yourself. And so you want to step into the faith frequency first, and then you also learn how to live in this heavenly sexiness frequency as well. And there's more to come on that. We both have evolved a lot. I mean, I have watched LoriAnn's life, she's watched my life, and that's what we just want to expand this out to more people that are ready for this kind of life. That
you just don't know the power behind living in the faith frequency until you listen to these podcasts, because it is something unimaginable for yourself. And I heard somebody say that the other day, and they said, but really, is it imaginable? Like, unimaginable is not really the word to use. They said, use the word incredible. Like, how incredible can it be for you if you are walking and living in the faith frequency, and that you realize when you're out of it and you get to like snap yourself right back in there or step right back in there. And that's what we were able to capture through Amy's experience, when she'd like kind of like wander out a little bit. And then it was like coming right back in, getting her alignment and showing up so powerfully. Some days we weren't really like, I would say, what the world would say is powerful, but we were being the powerful spiritual human beings that we are, and letting that just shine through, because that's what we had that day.
Yeah. And it's just acceptance. That's part of that whole hierarchy of authentic alignment, is accepting where you're at in that moment. So wherever I was at, she was at, we're just like, this is enough for today. This is enough. And when we can operate in a place where it's enough, then that is what sustainability is all about, is not stopping, but just continuing to know that you're enough and you have enough to get through whatever you're getting through, and to create whatever you want to create in your life.
Thanks for tuning in to Living in the Faith Frequency. Keep shining, keep aligning, and keep trusting your inner guidance as you live your life full out. We are here to guide you as you step confidently into your faith journey. Be sure to subscribe and stay connected. Check out the show notes and let us know what topics would you like to hear next. On behalf of Amy and LoriAnn, we want you to keep talking, keep dreaming, and keep feeling blessed.